Hi everyone. So first I would like to introduce myself as my name is Dr. Vijay Bhaskar Reddy, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Humanities and Sciences under the Chemistry Department. So I am handling environmental science subject. Today we are going to discuss about the biogeochemical cycles. One of the biogeochemical cycle, nitrogen cycle, we are going to discuss, and the carrying capacity we discussed in this lecture. So today the overview of the lecture is what is the biogeochemical cycles, what are the nutrient cycling, what are the different soil origins, layers will be there. So one of the biogeochemical cycle, nitrogen cycle, how nitrogen will be conversion in the air to water, water to soil, soil to atmosphere, how that will be converted in the nitrogen cycle. What is the carrying capacity and what is the importance of the carrying capacity? These topics we are going to discuss in this lecture. So now coming to the first one is what is the biogeochemical cycles. So generally the cyclic movement of the whatever minerals like a nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus. So whatever the minerals from their reservoirs. So reservoirs means the storing that minerals in the particular area is called the reservoirs, either water reservoir or water air reservoir and soil. So once the cyclic movement of minerals from the reservoirs, either air, water or soil, and to the living components back to the reservoirs, and these whatever minerals will be reservoirs to living components and living components to once again is the reservoirs. This cyclic movement is called the biogeochemical cycles. So here is the whatever the components, living components means there are two types of the living components will be there, is the biotic and abiotic living components. So through that one is the whatever is the cycles, these minerals will be cycling will be takes place. Those are called the biogeochemical cycles. Here is the another definition also, we can simply say biogeochemicals means in every ecosystem there are different types of ecosystems are there. In the ecosystem, sunlight or solar radiation. So that energy is accepted by the first is the producers. Producers means plants. So that plants take the solar radiation and convert it to the energy, does not cycle through the different ecosystems. So for example, in the ecosystem there is the primary consumers, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. A different is there, levels are there. But whatever the primary consumers taking the chemical energy from the solar energy through the photosynthesis, but that energy will be not transformed from one trophic level to other trophic level in a bio ecosystem. But so only nutrients like a carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, sulfur, different nutrients only cycle through the one trophic level to other trophic level in the moving a circular paths through the biotic and abiotic components is also known as the is a biogeochemical cycles. So these are the whatever the definition of the biogeochemical cycles. Now coming to the nutrient cycling. So what are the nutrients? What type of nutrients are there? Why this is the importance of the nutrient cycling in the ecosystem or abiotic and biotic system? Here is the movement and recycling of essential elements. What are the essential elements means? There are categories, the two types. One is the macronutrients and micronutrients. Those are called the essential elements. All this will be nutrient cycling will be takes place. Generally there are 16 elements is the essential elements are there that will be cannot grow for the plants without these 16 essential elements. So those 16 elements are categorized in the different ways is the macro and micro. So macro means carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, potassium, chloride. These are all are coming under the category of the macronutrients. Micro means very small quantity also required, then only is the plants will be growing. They play the crucial role in the growing of the plants like iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron and molybdenum. These are the either for lot of importance roles will be play in the growth of the plants. So here is the carbon and hydrogen and oxygen is the atmosphere will be plenty available. but these are the not limiting factors. Is the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen not limiting factors because it's the plenty available in the atmosphere. But growth limiting factors are mainly nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur. Because for example, if your excess nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur will be available in the atmosphere, that will be growth, suppressing the plants and decreasing the growth plants. But carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, even though plenty available in the atmosphere, that those are the not growth limiting factors. But these are the nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur are the growth limiting factors. So here is the one of the disturbance is the whatever the disturbance means nutrient cycling. What is the nutrient cycling means? Is the flow of nutrients from reservoirs to the living components, once again reservoirs. That is called the biogeochemical cycles. Here is the whatever these nutrients will be flowing through the biogeochemical cycles. When the disturbance is coming, one of the factor is the soil degradation. When the soil degradation will be happen, immediately is the nutrient cycling will be stopped or disturbance is coming. So what is the soil degradation? What is the definition of the soil degradation? Means when the fertile soil will be converted to the infertile soil. Like a fertile soil means a lot of all nutrients, different minerals, all nutrients will be present in the soil is called the fertile soil. Once that will be converted the infertile soil, so loss of the nutrients, macronutrient, micronutrients, then only that soil will be converted to the infertile soil. So if the soil degradation will be happen, immediately this movement of the cyclic nutrients will be in the environment, disturbance is coming. So that is the first reason is the soil degradation for the nutrient cycling disturbance in the different ecosystems. So second, soil is the most important environmental media for the completion of these biogeochemical cycles. For example, is the one of the reservoir is the soil also very important, play the crucial role for the cycling of these biogeochemical cycles. So soil. So that's why we must know the what are the soil origins are there. What are the different layers will be present in the soil. You must know. Then only we can understand the biogeochemical cycles. So now coming to the what are the soil origins. There are different layers of the soil origins will be present in that one. Here is the O origin, and second one is the A origin, third one is the B origin, the next one is the C origin, last one is the D or R origin. Here is the first one is the O origin, means is the top of the soil layer is called the O origin. Mainly this will be consisting of the organic matter like loose leaves, organic debris after decomposing the leaves, wood leaves. These are all will be debris present in that one, and partially decomposed organic debris, not completely decomposed. Is the partially decomposed is the whatever organic debris is, that is the top of the layer is called the O origin. So now coming to the second, A origin means this is the zone of leaching, is a rich source of the organic matter. So means completely is a decomposed, or debris is a decomposed in the organic matter. High mineral, once the decomposed, lot of mineral content will be more, and is the more fertile and part of the soil also. So this origin will be like is the whatever is the gray color is there, that is the this one. So under the top of the layer O origin, the next layer will be the H origin. Is a B origin means zone of the accumulation. In this one, maximum it containing the soluble minerals and clay particles will be there. So this will be the clay particles and the mineral particles, zone of accumulation. And last C origin means whether the rocks and decomposed, degradation, disintegration. So these rocks is nothing but a different chemical sources that will be decomposed, means a lot of minerals will be creating. That minerals is going up to the upper layer of the soil origin, and that will be utilized for the plant growing. So in this one, parent material from which soil was derived. So it generally weathered or minimally weathered, is a partially weathered the rocks or completely weathered the rocks. From that, nutrients are coming to the upper layer of the soil origin. So last one is the completely bedrock. This is the completely bedrock of the soil lost origin. This is the different layers of the origin structure. Now coming to the nitrogen cycle, we are going to discuss about that one. So here is the nitrogen widely used, generally used for the living organisms to produce the number of complex organic molecules. For example, any complex organic molecule is prepared or synthesized, So nitrogen is a must. Some of the organic molecules like amino acids. So amino acids, nitrogen is a must. Without nitrogen, is the amino acids will be very rare. So proteins, most of the proteins are coming from the amino acids. So nucleic acids also major containing the nitrogen, is the different bases will be there. So enzymes, chlorophyll also major portion, purpurols, these are all the structures containing the purons. These are all structures containing the nitrogens. That's why is the nitrogen is the very important element for the constructive material for the all organic, complex organic molecules like those. So that's why is a very crucial element in the nitrogen. So the largest reservoir of nitrogen in the atmosphere is the major source of the available nitrogen in the atmosphere and exists only in the gas form. In the atmosphere, nitrogen will be available in the gas form only. That is the nearly 78% of the nitrogen will be there in the atmosphere. So 21% of the 21 to 23% of the oxygen will be there, is a 0.03% of the carbon dioxide will be there, and the remaining will be inert gases will be there. That is the composition of the air. So here is the nitrogen will be a inert compound. Generally say in the chemically inert compound, and is a diamagnetic also compound, magnetic property also diamagnetic nature, but plenty available in the nature atmosphere, that is a nearly 78% in the gas form. But the atmospheric nitrogen is not utilized directly. Whatever this much of the percentage of the nitrogen available in the atmosphere, that nitrogen we cannot utilize directly as it is. So we cannot utilize that nitrogen, not utilized as it is as a form, because is the lot of complex molecules are coming from this one, but we cannot utilize that much of the percent also. So here is the, however, nitrogen gas undergoes many changes in the nitrogen cycle. So whatever this available in the nitrogen in the nitrogen atmosphere as a gas form, that will be is a many changes, many modifications in the during the nitrogen cycle. What are the steps are there during the nitrogen cycle? There are 4 major steps will be there in the during the nitrogen cycle. First one is the nitrogen fixation. Second one is the ammonification. Third one is the nitrification. Fourth one is the denitrification. These are 4 steps will be involved in the atmospheric nitrogen gas will be converted to the useful form the different nitrogen compounds during the in the nitrogen cycle. Is the nitrogen fixation, ammonification, nitrification and denitrification. The first one is the nitrogen fixation. What is the nitrogen fixation means? Is the conversion of free nitrogen into the biologically acceptable form. Is the whatever is the free nitrogen will be available in the atmosphere, nearly 78%. That free nitrogen will be converted into the converted into the biologically accepted form. Biologically accepted form means either plants will be taken in the form or animals will be, whatever is the useful for that form conversion, and if free nitrogen present in the atmosphere, that will be biologically acceptable form. So conversion process is called the nitrogen fixation. In this process takes place by the 2 ways. The first way, for example, here the first way is the nitrogen, whatever is the in the physicochemical process, nitrogen will be combined with the oxygen in the either the lightening of the clouds or in the atmosphere. That nitrogen will be or electrical discharge, nitrogen will be combined with the oxygen, either electrical discharge or during the lightening time. That first converted into the different oxides of the nitrogen, either nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen trioxide, nitrogen pentoxide. The free available nitrogen present in the atmosphere is converted into the some of the biological acceptable forms of the nitrogen oxides in the physicochemical process, like during the lightening of the clouds or electrical discharges. So this process, whatever the atmosphere nitrogen is converted to the different forms of that one, either nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen pentoxides, like a different form. Like here is the given the equation is a nitrogen present in the atmosphere will be combined with the oxygen. So in the electrical discharge or different nitrogen oxides are formed. That is the physicochemical process. The second one is the Second process is that the whatever the nitrogen conversion of the oxides that will be easily soluble in the either rainwater or more moisture containing the humidity, that easily soluble nitrogen oxides will be easily soluble in the either rainwater or humidity. So immediately that will be converted into the different nitrates or acids and nitrogenous compounds on the earth. So first nitrogen is converted to the different nitrogen oxides in the presence of the either electrical discharge, electrical lightning in the combined with oxygen. That nitrogen different oxides will be easily soluble, simply say easily soluble in the rainwater or moisture containing the humidity to convert this different nitrogen forms of the compounds. For example, here the one of the oxide nitrogen N2O5 that will be more soluble in the water to convert to the nitric acid. But this nitric acid will be once again will be combined with some of the rocks related to the limestone with the calcium carbonate, immediately converted to the calcium nitrate, one of the fertilizer compound is coming. So means this is the easily acceptable biological acceptable compounds, but nitrogen is the not directly biological acceptable compound, but calcium nitrate is the biological acceptable compound. So that first step will be taken in the nitrogen fixation. So this is the first conversion of that one. Is the second conversion is the nitrogen fixation is also carried out by the biological process, that is the physicochemical process. This is the biological process. In the biological process means some of the specified plants will be there. Blue green algae, some of the rhizobium bacteria fix the nitrogen on the roots of the legume plants. That is the biological process. Previous one discussed about the physiological process. So in these two processes, the atmosphere nitrogen will be converted into the different oxides of the nitrogen, and then that will be converted into the bioacceptable nitrogen compounds. That is the first step, nitrogen fixation. The second one is the ammonification. The second process is the ammonification. Is the ammonification when the plants and animals will be, after dying of the plants and animals, immediately are releasing the lot of waste from the plants and animals that containing the nitrogen is returned to the soil. So for example, when the plants will be died, when the animals will be died, when the whatever releasing the waste from the plants and animals containing the lot of nitrogenous compounds will be there. So that will be once again coming back to the soil, one of the reservoir, in the form of ammonia, in the form of ammonium ions, ammonia. So like this one, so is called the ammonification reaction. So this ammonification reaction will be carried out in the presence of some of the bacteria like a nitrite bacteria and in the soil and in the water. So this ammonia will be converted into the nitrogen dioxide. So means ammonia will be converted to the nitrogen dioxide and nitric another oxide NO also. So here another bacteria, nitrate bacteria. So means here the nitrites will be converted. So nitrates or nitrates, whatever is the form of the nitrogen oxides. Here the another bacteria, nitrate bacteria also convert the nitrite to nitrates. So here is the NO2 minus to NO3 minus. So NO3 minus. So here is the nitrites. These are the nitrates. So means this reaction will be happen in the one of the bacteria is called the nitrate bacteria. So this nitrates form is converted to the nitrates form. In the presence of the bacteria is the nitrate bacteria. So this will be easily soluble in the atmosphere, humidity, rainwater, that will be converted to the nitrogen products. So this is process total is called the ammonification. So third one is the nitrification. Nitrification means this conversion of the ammonia into the nitrite form. First nitrite form, then is converted to the nitrate form. So here is the whatever bacteria will be involved, nitrococcus, different soils and oceans will be present in that one. Is the last one is the denitrification. So denitrification means once again that nitrogen compounds will be split into the nitrogen, that nitrogen once again back into the atmosphere. So this only is the biogeochemical cycles. So this denitrification means reduction of the nitrates. So whatever nitrates containing the nitrogen or nitrogen compounds containing the nitrogen, that will be back into the nitrogen gas. So once again, the nitrogen coming back into the one of the reservoir in the air is called the biogeochemical cycle. So that then only completing the nitrogen cycle. This process is performed by the one of the bacterial species is called the Pseudomonas or Paracoccus. So this reaction will be carried out under the bacterial conditions. So some of the biological process only. So that is reaction is called the denitrification. Denitrification means break down the nitrogen compounds into the free nitrogen process. So that process is called the denitrification process. So this is the nitrogen cycle. Now coming to the last another topic continuation is the carrying capacity. So what is the carrying capacity means when the generally population will be different species grow increasing in a number of different upon capacity growing. So for example, some species will be growing rapidly, some species will be growing very less based on the biotic potential. If that species will be biopotential will be more, is the population also increasing rapidly. So here is the no population increase size indefinitely because of the some of the limiting factors. So not rapidly one way exponentially is not increasing because some of the limiting factors like environmental resistance, environmental restrictions are working on that growing of the population. So impose of the limits to their growth. Either growth will be imposing either environmental limiting factors or some environmental resistance will be opposing that one is the growth of that one. So these factors like a light, either water, nutrients or many competitors. So that is called the carrying capacity. Simply say this carrying capacity will be defined as the number of individuals in a given species that can be sustained indefinitely in a given space is known as the carrying capacity. So in a particular space, whatever you given be sustained. For example, in this example is the best example given. In this one, in this pot containing the lot of fishes will be there. There is no space. So for that growing is the very difficult. Sustain will be difficult. In this pot containing the only 3 will be there. Is a lot of free space will be there. Is a lot of accumulate. No, there is no that much of the interactions. There is no any limiting factors will be either light or that one energy sources also easily conversion, but this will be growing will be lot of factors will be influencing. So that is called the sustainable purpose is the carrying capacity. So there are carrying capacity is determined by the mainly is the 2 factors. One is the biotic potential of the species. So different species having the different biopotential capacity, their carrying capacity. So second one is the environmental resistance. How much environmental resistance will be imposing on that particular species or particular area, that is also very important for the carrying capacity. So here is the one of the is a drawing whatever the graph will be explained. A population growth generally is exponentially to reach the size approaching is the graph up to any population growth will be reaching as the maximum. After reaching the maximum, that one will be is a saturated point will be reached and growth tends to this swing be stabilized. So stabilized whatever the factors will be influencing environmental factors and whatever the food factors, light factors, nutrient factors, these are all will be stabilize that environmental resistance, food, space, light, storage, whatever these are all will be including. There is the stabilize the whatever growth that one. So that carrying capacity important concept for the resource management also. So how will be resource? For example, we have these resources will be there. How can utilized proper way for the sustainable is called the mainly is the carrying capacity. So now coming to the here is the, for example, human beings not only use for the resources but also releasing the lot of waste of the chemicals. So lot of, for example, one saturated will be reached this one. So after using the lot of wastes and the chemicals to the environment, increasing the environmental resistance is producing. So that's why for sustainability of the any biotic potential containing the species. So that's these are the waste and the toxic materials to increasing the environmental resistance. So here is the global human population not controlled and stabilized by us, but bound to cross the earth carrying capacity triggered by the natural disorders, famines and other factors. So for example, once the any reaching that saturation point carrying capacity, some of the triggered by the natural disorders. For example, any calamity is coming, earthquake, tsunami, whatever these calamities are coming, automatically these will be population decreasing. Is about global human population are controlled by the stabilized but is automatic growing process, that one. So in this presentation we discussed about the is a nitrogen cycle. In the nitrogen cycle mainly there are 4 steps will be there. Is there nitrogen fixation, ammonification, is a nitrogen modification, another one is a denitrification. These are the 4 steps are involved in the nitrogen will be once again go back to the atmosphere in the form of the gas, and finally another concept will be carrying capacity. So in the next lecture we discussed about the NAPCC and Government of India. So NAPCC means National Action Plan on Climate Change. So National Action Plan on Climate Change. So this is the NAPCC, National Action Plan on Climate Change. GOI means our Government of India, what are the initiative taken for this NAPCC. So we are going to discuss about this topic in the next coming lecture. NAPCC, Government of India initiatives. Thanking you.